Hey guys, YouTuber100 here. Alright, and now continuing Nickelodeon with another Nickelodeon movie review. With my review of Hey Arnold, the movie. Yeah. This really was not that good of a movie. I mean, I really don't think it's like a horrible movie, but it's just really not that great in terms of a movie. I mean, this movie just really felt more like just a long episode of the show, pretty much. It just really did not have that much of a movie feel to it. It just it didn't really feel much like a movie, to be honest. As far as how I felt about the show, well, I did like Hey Arnold. I mean, Hey Arnold, it was a good show on Nickelodeon. I'd probably say it's Nickelodeon's second best animated show, right behind Rugrats. I mean, I really did like Hey Arnold. I mean, yeah, there was really no main premise of this. I mean, basically the concept of the show was basically just Arnold and his friends just living life in school, and just basically Hey Arnold was just with Arnold, sometimes helping people out, and sometimes trying to avoid some people, and just yeah, and he did bond with some other people that were kind of older than him. Remember, there was the episode with him tutoring Torvald, who was like 3 or 4 years older than Arnold was, and yeah, Arnold and his entire grade kind of rivaling with the fifth grade class. Yes, and all that, yeah, and of course Arnold his parents were gone, and he was living with his grandparents, and yeah, he was bonding with some other people living in the building that he was in. And, yeah, there was Ernie, and there was Mr. Wynn, there was Mr. Kakashka, and yeah, just some other people that Arnold and his grandparents were always spending some time with since they were living with them. And yeah, there are of course Arnold's friends. There's Gerald, there's Harold, there's Sid, there's Stinky, there's Eugene, and there's also Rhonda, and there's Lila, and Phoebe, and all of them, and also of course there's Helga, and yeah, we all know what Helga is, how Helga is with Arnold. She acts mean to him when she's around him all the time, but it's also Helga secretly has a huge crush on Arnold, but she doesn't act. But she hasn't told Arnold. I remember there was an episode with Helga talking to a psychiatrist or something about it, and she was saying that the reason that she's not telling Arnold or that she loves him is because she felt that Arnold won't love him back. Yeah. And Helga is carrying a locket with Arnold's picture in it, and she's just always really just admitting her love for Arnold to the locket. And there's always a funny gag in the show where there's this other kid Brainy, always breathing very weirdly right behind Helga. I don't know if you had a thing for Helga or something, but Helga always just whacks him in the face and knocks him out. Out. And so, yeah, like I said, not really much of that big of a premise for Hey Arnold. Just the concept was basically just Arnold and his friends just living life in the fourth grade, and yeah, there was just basically the entire show was just kind of just showing them, on just different things with. Whether it would be Arnold helping people, and he helped the Stoop Kid, and he also helped Chocolate Boy, and as I said, with Torvald. So yeah, Arnold did help other people, and yeah, sometimes Arnold would kind of do some wrong things. So yeah, they did make Arnold kind of a pretty realistic character. It's not Arnold was just pitch perfect and just like, well, we never did get into trouble. Like, Arnold did kind of like do some things that were wrong. I remember, like, there was the episode where he and Gerald did play hooky in that one episode, and yeah, did like some other stuff that I can't remember. But yeah, Arnold like did like goof up sometimes. He wasn't just like a perfect angel. So yeah, they did make Arnold kind of a realistic character. So yeah, I do like that. As far as this movie goes, like I said, it just really doesn't feel that much of a movie. I mean, it just kind of just feels like an extended episode of the show. And really, I mean, just this movie, it just was not really good in terms of a Hey Arnold movie. I mean, yeah, this movie, it really was not in connection with the show at all, like the first two Rugrats movies were. I mean, yeah, around this point, the show was like starting to come to an end. I mean, there weren't very many episodes of the show left when this movie was released. This movie was released in the summer of 2002, and by this point, there were just like a few episodes left of the show. I remember like how they had they say the series finale is just an episode where Arnold's grandpa finds his dad's old journal, and then he just reads and tells Arnold what his dad had written in the journal, just showing like his parents going on adventures and how Arnold was really born and how he actually got left with his grandparents before his parents then just disappeared. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, this movie it's really not in connection with the show at all, and the movie really just doesn't have really what really made the show very enjoyable. I mean, movie just really doesn't have the charm of the show. I mean, it just once again it just has kind of like a secret agent type of story, which I do not know what movies fetishes were with doing this back then. And at this time, I remember, like I told you, like Clock Stoppers kind of did have a similar thing to it with like another kind of spy agency movie. And yeah, I remember like Matrix was also kind of released at this time, and there was also like some there were some other movies that came out during this time that like had this like secret agent formula to it. I just really don't know what their obsession was with doing movies like this at the time. But seriously, I mean, Hey Arnold was nothing like this. Like the show was absolutely nothing like what this movie has. I mean, yeah, the movie just really does like as I said, it just lacks really what made the show will be so enjoyable. I mean, the movie just really doesn't have that. I mean, you have like all the characters still there, but I mean, it just really doesn't feel like Hey Arnold really. Because as I said, this movie just it has the standalone story that isn't connected with the show, as I said. The story for this is just like their neighborhood is about to be like taken over or by an industry to build a new mall or something, and so and everybody in the neighborhood is trying to stop it from happening, but they like eventually feel that they just can't stop it, and so they are deciding to just give up. But Arnold still wants to fight and stop their neighborhood from being taken over and ruined. And so so he and Gerald then team up just to try to stop the industry from destroying their neighborhood and causing everybody to move. And so then they just pretty much act as if they're secret agents and just do whatever they can to try to stop the industry from taking over their neighborhood and tearing it down. And there's all that. Yeah. And also, like, around the end of this movie, there's also Helga finally confessing to Arnold that she does love him. Oh no, gosh. But, no, I mean, with everything they do in this movie, as I said, it just really does not have the charm of the show, and it really just is not does not make the movie really that good, and it's just really not very enjoyable. I mean, yeah, I would probably give this movie, 2 stars out of 4. And like I said, not really like a terrible movie like Snow Day was, and how Clock Stoppers really wasn't very good. But I mean, it's like not like a terrible movie, but it's still not very good. And yeah, so yeah, let me just go right through it. So as Arnold and Gerald are arriving home, the neighborhood then learns of a guy named Sheck, who is the CEO of Future Tech Industries, and he announces that the industry now has a plan to redevelop the neighborhood as the like a new shopping mall. You know? And yeah, and the entire neighborhood just is trying to fight for their neighborhood to prevent the industry from taking it over. And Helga, at first, she is kind of like supporting what the industry is doing, and she learns that her father her is also working with the industry in order to so he can like bring in his beeper store into the mall. And Helga tries to talk to her father about it, and she tries to tell him that the neighborhood will suffer for if the store is built, but Helga's father just tried telling her that it would be a good thing because their family would become so filthy rich. And so Helga then she does reluctantly side with her father, but she does also know that if this plan and does happen, then and her and Arnold will be separated and will never see each other again. And so Arnold decides to form a protest rally against the industry, and they just do like a lot of different things to just try to raise some money or something to stop the industry from taking over their neighborhood. But eventually, some of Sheck's employees, he's then just crashed their protest, as then they steal their permit, and what they're doing is now considered illegal. And then Arnold's grandma then, as she's trying to hold off some of the employees, ends up getting arrested. And then with basically the rally just basically failing, then everybody in the neighborhood decided to just give up and just go along with the industry's plans and sell all their homes. And as everyone in Arnold's home is backing up their stuff, Arnold's grandpa then starts to tell Arnold the story of the tomato incident, which was just a battle in the Revolutionary War in the city that they won. And then Arnold eventually learned that because of the tomato incident, their neighborhood was declared a historic district. Then it was ensuring its position. And then the documents that grant the neighborhood a landmark had actually been sold to a collector. And it turned out that Sheck was actually the collector with the document. Then Arnold and Gerald then team up to go to Shek's headquarters, and then they try to confront Shek about the document, and Shek just is denying that he does have the document. And later that night, as Arnold and Gerald are like starting to feel like they should just give up, then like Arnold then gets a call from an anonymous person right here that is just telling Arnold to call them Deep Voice, and then Deep Voice just told Arnold that Shek is actually hiding the document in the safe inside his office. So Arnold and Gerald once again do team up to try to find the document again, but Arnold and Gerald thought that they would need some special equipment to deal with it. So Gerald told Arnold that he knows a woman, Bridget, that keeps equipment that could help them. And so they paid a visit to Bridget, and she like gave them a bunch of like secret agent materials, like utility belts and a bunch of stuff. And then they were dressed as secret agents, and then they eventually paid it another visit to Shek, and yeah, they've discovered that they actually need a key to unlock the safe, and they just found that Shrek's assistant Nick actually was keeping the key around his neck. And so Arnold and Gerald just were trying to keep an eye on Nick until they could get the opportunity to get the key. And as that's going on, like Grandpa and like Ernie, Mr. Wynn, and Mr. Kakashka were all trying to form a backup plan in case Arnold didn't succeed in getting the document. So Arnold's grandpa decided to wire up the storm drain tunnels in their streets with some dynamite to destroy all the construction equipment of the future tech industries. And Arnold and Gerald do eventually succeed in getting the key from Nick while he's sleeping. And also, like during this part, there's like a funny scene where Helga's dad is like going through the contract act of the mall, and then he sees that for his beeper store, then that he's not getting his like agreement in the deal, and so he goes to Nick and basically is just fighting him. It's funny, but at one point they are like fighting towards Nick's fridge, and then Nick grabs a pickle jar and just throws the juice into Helga's dad's face, and then Helga's dad is just basically like the Hulk. He's like all green and everything, and he's even like yelling and everything like the Hulk, and he's just trying to go after Nick again. But Nick moves out of the way and just knocks Helga's dad out with the fridge door. I remember when I first saw this, it was just so hilarious, like the Hulk thing. Yeah. And then Arnold and Gerald then sneak back into Shek's headquarters, and they're able to access in the safe, but they see that the document isn't there, and then Shek then appears, and then he reveals that he has the document. And he tells Arnold and Gerald that his ancestor, who was part of the opposing force in the tomato incident, was just humiliated, and Shek had actually been planning to avenge his family and tear down the neighborhood. Then he ended up burning the document down to assure Arnold and Gerald that his plan will proceed. And then, then Arnold and Gerald get chased down by some other guards. And then they're able to escape, and throughout this time, like, Arnold was receiving more advice from Deep Voice. And then, Deep Voice told Arnold that he would still show that Shek burnt the document by getting the videotape. And so Arnold then heads to the security room, and he succeeded in retrieving the tape. And then Arnold then eventually came across Deep Voice, and it was revealed that Deep Voice was Helga. And Helga then did confess her love for Arnold, and then just kissed him. And then they met back down with Gerald, and then they rode off on a city bus. And as they were driving off, then the driver eventually ended up getting knocked out, and he had like a fake metal egg on the gas. And then when he got knocked out, he just like floored it on the gas pedal. And then the bus was continuing to drive off. And then Arnold convinced Gerald to steer the bus, as Arnold and Helga would control the pedals. And then, like, Arnold, Helga, and Gerald eventually did make it back to the neighborhood. But then it showed, like, the mayor and police and some news crews that were there. And then Arnold then eventually played the videotape of Shek burning the document. And so the mayor then decided to restore the neighborhood and prevent and not allow the mall to be built. And then Shek then did see the footage playing from his monitor that he had put up, and then he ended up being arrested. And yeah, it also showed like Arnold's grandma escaping from the jail. And then Harold had accidentally set off Arnold's grandpa's explosives, and then all it did was really just destroy Shek's monitor. Yeah. And after Arnold confronted Helga again about her saying she loved him, Helga just claimed that she said it in the heat of the moment, and then once again was acting mean to Arnold. But yeah, Arnold just, of course, he knew Helga wasn't meaning it, and then he just pretended to believe Helga. And then yeah, Helga was like just showing happiness. And then yeah, the movie just ended kind of abruptly. It just basically showed like Eugene singing about the neighborhood saved, and Gerald just told him that the show was over, and it just showed like Helga running home cheerfully. So yeah, kind of an abrupt ending, but yeah, okay. So yeah, like I said, 2 stars out of 4. I mean, it just really does not have what really made the show so enjoyable, and yeah, it just really does not feel like that much like a movie. As I said, basically just a long episode of the show. So yeah, if you do like Hey Arnold and you haven't seen this movie, I would say that you could just keep watching the show and you really don't have to see this movie. Because, I mean, it just really doesn't have a lot to do with the show at all, and yeah, you probably won't really see what you really do love about the show. So, yeah, you can probably skip watching this movie. Alright, so, yeah, that does it for my review of Hey Arnold, the movie. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, so, yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.